Now, as part of this review, we're also going to include a obstacle course, and that obstacle course is going to include household items, phone cords, but also a poop test because we have 3 Pomeranians that we have to deal with. Now, in today's video, we're taking a look at the DEEBOT X11 OmniCyclone, and this robot intends to make household cleaning something of the past. This robot can mop, it can sweep, it is intelligent, it knows when there's a stain, and just like us, when we see a stain and you put some more muscle into it to be able to take it out, it could do the same thing. It's packed with AI features and it's going to simplify cleaning your home. So let's get right to it. Now, I have to say that having reviewed several DEEBOT vacuums in the past, I am always impressed on how smarter, how more efficient, and the leaps that I see in the technology and how they're able to improve their previous robot. And that is definitely the case with the X11 OmniCyclone. First of all, the suction power. This robot actually can has incredible suction. 19,500 PAs. And pretty much that means that if you have carpet high pile, low pile, hardwood floors with cracks because of an older home, tile, you're not going to find crumbs. You're not going to find anything left away. But one of the things that excites me the most is their new roller technology. This is Roller 2.0. And the cool thing about this is that we reviewed robots, even from Ecovac, that have those rotating mop heads, right? And the problem with those rotating mop heads is that they're rotating cleaning your floor. And if you actually have a spill or a dog accident that's taken place, it's just going to spread this because it's basically cleaning them, it's wiping, then goes back to the docking station, it cleans it off, and then it comes back again. Well, with this roller technology, it's very different. It's actually cleaning itself as it's wiping. So the system is actually cleaning the roller as it's wiping, which means you're not going to be spreading any kind of germs, which means you're not going to be spreading any kind of mess that could be on the floor. In addition to that, this technology acts like we do. So if you think about when you're cleaning the floor, if you find there's a stain, what do? You press harder, right? You press harder and you scrub harder to get out the stain. Well, this roller not only does it roll, but it also has pressure sensitivity. And the robot is able to detect stains and it knows the difference between a light stain and a stubborn stain, and it will put the appropriate pressure. That is something that you don't really see. The other thing is because of this roller technology, not only does it come down, but it also extends. And that means that as it's going through your home and it starts getting to the corners, it's going to be able to extend itself to make sure it gets to the corner, but it's not going to damage your baseboards, your walls. It's pretty intelligent the way it comes out, and I just don't know how it does it, but it kind of almost like hugs the wall. It has a lot of sensors that actually can see, and actually it pushes out to make sure that it's getting just what it needs to, but not damaging the surface that it's coming across. So a lot of technology and a lot of improvements when it comes to the overall cleaning. Not only does it put more pressure, does it know the difference, uh, good stains or light stains and actually heavy stains, but if it needs to come back and clean it again, it will. It will also slow down when it's going to see it sees a stain. And if it sees a wet surface, the cool thing is that the whiskers that turn around and actually clean, other robots will continue to whisk around and the whiskers will get wet. This one will tuck the whiskers away and then it will use the mopping surface to clean before it sweeps. That is pretty cool. If that wasn't enough, well, you guys all know one of the things I'm a big fan of, or the things that really concern me about robots, is making sure that the actual rollers themselves are clean. So this system basically uses 75C to actually hot water clean your rollers, and that's going to make sure that it's clean, that it's that you don't have any of that you're picking up on the floor retained on the roller for the next cleaning. In addition to using hot water to clean, it then also uses hot air to dry, which means you're not going to have any kind of smell coming from the actual rollers. Every time we look at the rollers, and I've been checking them out, they look and they feel like they're brand new because of the cleaning system. So a lot of cool stuff that's happening with this, again, new or upgraded Roller 2.0 that really transforms the way it cleans your floor. Now, it also has PowerBoost charging. And at first I was thinking about like, why would you do this? Well, in my home, I have a smaller home and I can basically run the robot full cleaning, full power, and it takes care of my areas fine. But there are larger homes that are using robots like these. And what ends up happening is you may not be able to run it at its peak power or to completely clean your room without having to go back and charge. Cool thing about this is that as it goes back to the docking station to empty or to do any kind of cleaning, it basically charges and it does it in bursts. So it has fast power boost charging. which is almost similar to your cell phone. So when you plug in your cell phone and you see that it says fast charging, and then within minutes you may have 10%, literally, this is how this works. When the robot goes back and it goes to clean itself, not only is it cleaning itself, but it's doing fast charging. And I've seen, as it's going back to the docking station, anywhere from 5 to 10% boosts in power. So that means that if, let's say, your robot is at 70%, by the time it cleans itself and it comes out to continue to clean, now it's going to be 80%. If it's 80% and it goes back, that means that it's going to be 90%. That's how fast this thing is charging, which then really makes it, again, a game changer when it comes to cleaning larger homes. And that's using some type of GaN technology. The other thing is that this robot has the ability to actually raise itself. So if you have a threshold, and we have several parts of our home, we go from wood to tile, and you have those little bumps that are there. Well, this is not going to be able to climb upstairs. Those bumps, typically robots could have a problem with them. And sometimes you have to have either pick it up or have a lower threshold conversion. This will go over it. It climbs. Now, it doesn't climb stairs, but it will climb over thresholds. And what I have is, I have actually family who have homes that are older homes that have add-ons to their homes where there's a difference in the actual floor plan where it's either higher or lower, and robots get stuck. That's not the case with this. It literally has like this adaptive 4-wheel drive, even though it only has 2. Another significant change is the freedom that you get from bags. This system requires no bags. Literally, it can store up to 38 days of debris in the actual container, and it does that easily without requiring any bags at all. And that means little to no maintenance ever again. And one of the things I just wanted to highlight also, part of that cleaning piece, kind of go back for a second, is that it does have 2 types of detergents. And ECOVACS provides one of them as well, or actually both of them, where you have a light solution and a deep solution, depending on the type of stain that it needs to be able to manage. So it knows how to use those different, I would say, intensities of cleaning fluid, depending on the surface that it needs to clean. Now, with all those capabilities, there's more to offer. The app with AI, and then also with their agent called Deco, makes it simpler than ever, where you can use your voice. For example, I'm the app guy, so when I run the robots, I go to the app. Nilda just speaks to the robots, and the robots clean. And that's the cool thing about this solution, is that it does have an AI that you can use. It has an onboard camera that you can use as well if you want to be able to check on your pets, and almost have it like work in sentry mode, where you're going around the house to see where the dogs and cats are. So that's something that you could do as well. But again, this is one of the most advanced robots that we've seen from them, and it's just packed with power. Literally 100-watt high torque motor that is basically helping with all that suction and power that it needs in order to clean your home. So let's take a closer look at the robot. I've given you a lot of specs and a lot of experience, and you'll see it in action. Now, this is our obstacle course. We do have hardwood in that area, but as we come over here, you'll notice that there are 3 deposits of dog poop. We also have some cereal that's been spilled on the floor and crushed, unfortunately. We have some miscellaneous stuff with some cups on the floor. We have some tomato sauce recently dropped. We don't leave things overnight. And then what we have is some shoes. Those are Nilda shoes. And we have a phone cord. We're going to see how well the robot does navigating all these things. And I'm really interested to see how well it does with the poop. And I'm also interested to see how well it does cleaning up that tomato sauce. And remember, we're expecting for the robot sweeper to retract when it gets into this area, because we don't want it to sweep tomato sauce. Let's see if it does it. Now, the first thing I just want to highlight is this robot moves really fast. You're going to see how it's going to come over. And thanks to that lift technology, it's going to go ahead and... Oh, no! All right, so the robot has started its cleaning, and I have to say, at very first, it's kind of failed my poop test. It's actually moved the poop with it, and I'm surprised. Now, keep in mind that this is a early release of the software and of the robot, but I'm surprised that it just plowed right through the 3D printed poop. We'll see if it recognizes it throughout its cleaning. Now, right now, we're going to see it coming up to the tomato sauce, and we want to see that retraction take place. Notice it did it. See how it retracted? So it's not sweeping, it stopped, and wow, that was really good. Did you see how it picked up all that tomato sauce really quick? So we're going to see how it continues to do right there. That is a really good pass. You'll see that it is still cleaning, and you can actually still see some of the tomato sauce
on the actual roller, and it should clean itself off, and we should be able to see it operating normally. Now you'll notice that it doesn't bump into the walls. You can see how basically it's coming back to this specific spot because the AI is telling it that it needs to clean that area a little bit better. But you'll notice that the sweeper is not sweeping. That's super. Love, love, love that it does that. And you see how it's extending and retracting the roller. I've had other robots that, the sweeper gets wet and all it's doing is just contaminating everything as it goes along. That's not the case with this robot. It actually is now slowing down considerably as it's working its way around this obstacle course. So first of all, it looks like it failed in one area, but it's definitely passing in the other. Let's see what else it does. How does it continue to navigate and clean this area? And you'll notice it's focusing its time here because of that tomato sauce area. And we're gonna see if there is any kind of like tomato sauce stain remaining, because you can see how it's just really focusing on that area. And that again is the power of the AI that's doing that. So, and I can hear it like intensifying every single time it comes over this area. We still have a little tomato sauce there. Let's see how well it does. And you can notice those whiskers have completely stopped. And the robot is not only, the brush is not only rotating, but it's pressured, right? It's pushing down. And you'll notice how, I'd say right now about 95, if not 98% of the tomato sauce that was there is gone. Let's see what it's doing. It definitely sees and understands that there's still some tomato sauce left there. And I'm also not seeing any tomato sauce left or being smeared anywhere else. But literally I can just hear something going as it's really pushing down and rotating. And that was pretty caked on, that tomato sauce. And I'm also impressed on how fast it stopped as soon as it detected it. And it should focus in this area until that stain is gone. And it's going, not quite 100% still. And I can hear it again, pressure. Look at that, guys. It cleaned it. This is, I have to say, I think this is the first robot that has successfully removed caked in tomato sauce, any kind of spill. That is awesome, right? So it basically now is going to go and it's going to return to clean the roller mop. Notice that it detected the poop that was there and it stopped. So let's see, it sees it also. It's going to try to work around it. Okay, so notice that this poop and that poop, it detected. The smaller one, it didn't. And it's actually just rolled over it and tossed it over there. So now it's basically moving its way back to the docking station. And when it goes back to the docking station, it's gonna go back to clean itself. Now, the one thing about the cleaning cycle with this robot is that as it goes back, it is actually gonna charge itself. And it's using that GaN fast charging technology, right, to charge itself. Right now, we're at 98% power. And what will happen is, as it's in the docking station, it is going to charge itself rapidly. So we're going to go ahead and switch to the app so you can see what's going on in the app. So now it's cleaning the roller mop with hot water. That's after detecting that it's cleaned this well. You notice that there's also a charging symbol there. And the charging symbol is flashing. We're at 98% power. We want to see what happens when it's done cleaning. Now notice that it's going to clean that roller for 4 minutes, right? Because it really wants to make sure that it doesn't have any kind of tomato sauce or anything left on it. So for 4 minutes. So what should happen, as it's doing its cleaning, it should get to the point where we're at 100%, I would expect. Because I've been seeing in around 2 minutes, I've seen it bump up to 10%. So we'll see how well it does. And you can see on the side there, it's telling us that it's 55% complete cleaning the mop. And you can see that the amount of time that it's going to continue to take. So this is the power of that GaN fast charging technology. and how it basically accelerates charging. And then also the power of the AI, because you know, it literally took care of that tomato sauce. Now, we have two areas that we still have some poop placed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove, you're gonna see me come on camera because I'm gonna remove the poop that's over here. This is the one that it didn't really detect. All right, I'm gonna leave these two here. We still have some cereal there. I actually have a cord, a phone cord on the floor. This is the poop that it failed to pick up, right? And this is a decent size. And we have two more there. We're gonna see how well it does, how well it negotiates around there. So still, again, cleaning. 55% of the mop is cleaned, and you can see it pop up there. And it says that 4 minutes are remaining. All right, so it's getting out of its docking station. Now, we didn't see it top off, and maybe it's because it was so close. Oh, wait a minute. Notice 99%. So the battery did go up. 99%, and typically when you're working with GAN chargers, when the battery is really low, it tends to charge very fast, and then when the battery is close to 100%, it kind of changes, it slows down a little bit. A couple things we're going to look for here is, will the robot detect the poop? And it's negotiating it. It's going over this area. Let's see what it does. Okay, it saw it there. That's good. And now, is it going to go back and try to clean the stained area? All right, that's what's going on. So here you can see the AI remembered where the tomato stain was, and it came back to make sure that it was clean. So it's going back and cleaning again. Never seen a robot do this before. This is really cool. The fact that it knew that there was a stain there, ignored everything else, avoided all things, the cord, the phone cord, which I threw now over there, the poop that's there, and it's coming back to clean this. It's pretty spectacular. You don't really see robots do this. Maybe this is going to be the next gen thing. And then you'll notice it's just mopping, because that little sweeper in the vacuum is completely off. All it's doing is mopping. And you can hear as it gets close to that tile, it intensifies. You can hear like the roller start whirling with more pressure. So this is not just doing one of these things, but it's actually pushing down and twirling at the same time. So if you're a pet owner, this I think is going to be a great robot to have, because dogs make mistakes, and the fact that this robot is smart enough to know is pretty cool. Really cool. All right, so now it's going to go back and clean the roller mop, and here again, it failed to ignore the poop, which 2 times in a row it saw it, and for whatever reason, it just ignored it. And here you notice how the poop is, it's 3D printed, so it's kind of lifted it off of its wheels. Let's see if it's able to recover. So far I want to say that this is probably about a 99% pass. It's just the poop side. And I would expect that with the AI improving and firmware updates, it's probably going to see that. All right, so it made it over. And right now we are sitting at 98% again, because again, it charged itself, and you can see it all the way over there. We'll zoom in up there. Going back into the docking station to charge and clean itself before it returns. Now I expect that given how clean that is, that it's probably going to start the normal vacuum mopping routine. Let's see what happens. Now, while the robot is cleaning, let's talk about the app a little bit. So the app, as you can see here, there's a lot going on here. It is able to detect the actual area that I'm in, break up the rooms for me, which allows me to clean specific rooms at the same time. So what you're seeing is the red area. That's my entryway. That is in red, and that has the highest traffic of this home. People coming in, coming out. This is where my packages come in. I have my formal living room, which is where the actual robot is. That's room 2. And then I have room 1. This is my formal dining room, or actually no, it's my secondary living room. I forget how they label these houses. But I have, and that's actually another setup for my video recordings for audio video tests. But you can see kind of like the breakout. So I'm able to select where I want the robot to work. Over here, you'll notice it has different cleaning modes. I can have the vac, the mop. I can have the suction power, the water flow rate, the cleaning speed right now. And right now the cleaning speed is set as standard. The number of passes, you'll notice even though this is 1 pass, it's done more than that, because it detected that there was dirt and it wanted to clean it, and it's cleaning itself, right? So that's pretty cool. Now we could go into advanced settings, but let me look at something here in station. Here in the bottom, as soon as I went back to station, you're going to notice that it's showing the cleaning cycle, right? And you can see that there's a little power gauge there showing how far it's going. We'll go back to the advanced settings. Auto empty, the frequency of the cleaning. So this is high frequency because we want to make sure that it auto empties, especially because we have pets. Dust collection is standard, and we can make it quiet too. And I wonder if I could do that real time. But we have pets, so I'm going to leave it at standard because typically when the vacuum goes off, it drives my dogs crazy. Forced operation without water, we choose not to do that. Intelligent temperature, and you have different standards here. Smart mop wash, right? And then we have our different settings. We have by rooms. If you wanted to return, the auto dispensing, we're going to go ahead and turn that on. And you'll notice that I have over here the auto heavy duty cleaning dispensation as well. So we're making sure that both of them are selected. And you get a bing or ding when you make that change. Hot air drying and the duration. PowerBoost, right? And then also the savings when it goes back to the station. You'll notice that since it went back and it was cleaning itself, it's recharged itself. So it went up 1% and we're at 99%. So this is what we're talking about, that this robot, especially if you have a large square footage, it is going to do a really nice job of keeping itself going for your area. Now let's see if it's going to go back. See if it sees the poop. It saw the poop. It avoided it. And it really wants to make sure that this side is clean. But let's see. But now it's vacuuming. See the actual arms out? And it is going to get as close as it can to that corner. You can see the extender coming out. And now we're going to see how well it does when it comes up to Nilda's flip-flops, or her sandals. We're going to pull back so you can see everything that's going on here. And it went around her stuff, her shoes, and it's going to then get close again and start cleaning right there. Let's see if it does that. You'll notice how tight it gets. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Now my life is full of boxes, so you can see some boxes of some stuff that's coming for review. And it's going to continue to work our way around it. That's where we deposit our shoes. It will be interesting to see what it does on that side. We can see over here how well it's getting really close to the door. You can see how it extends itself out. There's a shoe there, so it really can't negotiate that, which, you know, we're not creating a perfect environment for the robot. This is what happens in our home. Also, one of our dogs loves kind of sleeping there, so things get moved out of the way all the time. Very cool. And you can see it on the phone map, right? On the phone map, you can see also how the map is being tracked. Now, this does have an onboard camera. And I think cameras are great, especially if you want to see your pets. Our pets typically aren't on the main floors. They're everywhere else. I don't really use our cameras often, but it does have an onboard camera. Onboard camera is great if you're on vacation and you just want to check out what's going on in your house, because you can have your robot do that for you. I have cameras on my lawnmowers, and that's pretty cool because when they're cutting the grass, you can see what's going on. I want to see what it does on this corner, because it should get pretty tight here in the corner. And you can see that right there. You see that? That is pretty nice right there. Very close to the corners, which is what we want. And it's going to make its way on the other side. We have a bathroom on that side, so it's going to go in that side. It's a little dark, and then it'll come back again. All right, so it's going to work its way around the actual cord. So it's seeing the actual USB-C cable that's there for our phone, which is good. And it's going to make its way around it. So it's been able to see that, not a problem. That's good. All right, so definitely going to give them some feedback on poop detection. Poop detection is an area of improvement. The cool thing is with the AI and how smart this is, it definitely can be updated if you have firmware. I'm not really concerned at all about that. And you can see how well it's like, it picked up that piece of the cereal area right there with no problem. You're also noticing that how it's moistening the floor. I can hear it picking up more of the cereal. And as it does that, you know, it doesn't leave it where it's very wet, where, in my opinion, you'll get a hazard, like where you may fall. There's no falling hazard there. And you can see how well it's keeping its distance from the cups as it's doing its cleaning.
So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.